What is the Meisner technique? It's a technique developed obviously by Sanford Meisner after he left the group theater and moved to the neighborhood playhouse. And it stemmed out of his dissatisfaction with some of the things that Lee Strasberg was teaching with the group theater, specifically emotion memory, and he felt that it was intrusive to the actor. Essentially, what Meisner felt was that the only thing that communicates to an audience is very precise actions that were outwardly focused, because that's what audiences pick up. And that in actual truth, as Stanislavski found out in his later career, that the way to achieve a consistently full emotion that is truthful to the scene is through action. And so Sanford Meisner developed a game called the repetition game that ultimately helps the actor find the emotion through performing an action. The repetition game is a superb way of doing this because, first of all, by being in a state of repetition, you are constantly in a state of stimulus, so that no matter how long the game goes on, there is always stimulus available to each of the scene partners by which they can react against, and react against truthfully. So that was one of the big advantages. The other advantage that he created was what he calls the difficult activity that goes along with the repetition game. The difficult activity is a way to allow, on the one hand, one scene partner to be able to be incredibly focused on a specifically difficult activity that is difficult, certainly, but not impossible to achieve in a specific amount of time, while at the same time, that actor having to multitask, as many actors do, in being able to repeat with his partner while he's doing the difficult activity. By giving the actor this kind of level of action, what Meisner was able to do was to get the actor to stop thinking, or what he liked to term being in his head. Okay? Because when the actor goes into his head, the audience cannot see necessarily what he's thinking or what is happening, and they become bored. If he is out of his head and he's constantly outwardly focused because he constantly has outward external stimuli that he's constantly reacting against, then he's constantly in action, and when he's in action, the audience can read through the behavior of the actor both the story of the play as well as the overall arc or development of the character through the scene.
They really are important to you, and this holiday is really important to you. Do you know what I mean? Because you really want to connect up with them. What are your friends' names?
Elina and Sil.
Elina and Sil. Okay, good. And you're going to spend time with them? Okay, good. All right, now, look at her. Look at her face. See? She's ready. She's ready to do the exercise because she's ready to spend time with her friends. Okay? That's what that's all about. That's how we connect with it.
Jag är klar. Klara. En gång till. Slapp av. Slapp av. Slapp av. Slapp av. Slapp av.
1 minute.
Slapp av. Slapp av. Slapp av. Slapp av. Slapp av. Slapp av. Du klarar det. Du klarar det. Du klarar det. Du klarar det. Jag klarar det. Du 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 klarar det. Jag klarar det. Du klarar det. Du klarar det. Du klarar det. En gång till. 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 Du klarar det.
30 seconds.
En gång till. Du klarar det. Du klarar det. Du klarar det. Jag 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 klarar det. En gång till. En gång till. En gång till. Jag klarar det.
Time. This is a prime example to everybody how action can elicit emotion. How, as Lisa got frustrated, which was the action of doing the game, that it ultimately elicited some sort of emotional response in her. And that emotional response came directly out of the fact that she bought into the fact that if she didn't do this house of cards, okay, at 2 levels, that she wasn't going to be able to spend 2 weeks with her best friends. Now, in actual fact, Lisa, will you be able to go on holiday with your best friends? If you want? Yeah.
In reality, you will. But in this circumstance and in this world that you created, that we're watching as an audience, you won't be.
What have you done with our students here at Solbakken?
I did something I have not done before, which is I tried to cram Meisner in one weekend, which is not always necessarily a good idea. But it worked out, I have to say, it worked out quite successfully here.
Okay, stop. Good. You guys are pretty good at it. It's not too bad at all, is it? Okay.
I think that it was because I took the attitude of not having expectations of the student's ability to be able to grasp all the concepts of Meisner in one weekend, because I think that's impossible for anyone, but to at least introduce them to various concepts, of which I think some of them did grasp on to quite a few, maybe more than I expected, and others at least are aware of it and now have to continue their training and developing that those techniques to a point where they do understand the purpose behind those exercises and how it helps them as an actor. And I think we did that quite well. They were a very receptive group of people. I enjoyed them thoroughly. And I think that part of it is because of the fact that they live in a residential folk school where they get a lot of hours of training, which I think is good. And I think that they're very enthusiastic, which also helps. They want to do it. And there's a great deal of talent there. There's quite a number of students there. I'd say about 4 or 5 of them that, quite frankly, if they audition for LIPA, I think have a good chance of getting in. And that's quite exceptional when you're talking about a school with only 27 students in it. I would normally say that if I was lucky I'd find 1, and there's probably about 4 or 5 here, I'd say have a shot at it. So that's to the credit of the people who work here as well. There are, as far as I know, there are about 2,200 applicants a year. For what will be next year, I believe 36 places. So I would say that's maybe just under 1% of all those who audition will actually finally get in and attend LIPA. So it is quite competitive. On the other hand, for reasons I won't go into, we do have a very special relationship with Norwegian students. We have had a long-standing association with a number of folk schools over the years, and it's proved to be quite successful. So there's no reason why that won't continue.